This dish, so simple, literally 3 ingredients. A little bit of cabbage, turnip or swede as we like to call these guys, and a little bit of smoked salmon, or smoked mackerel, excuse me. Now I love smoking fish, or smoked fish for the omega-3 fatty acids because it's prepared at a low temperature, so the omega-3s are very well preserved generally in a smoked fish. Also, when you get a smoked mackerel, good idea to get them smoked on the bone. They tend to be much better quality than the ones that are smoked off the bone. They're not as salty, the sodium content is a little bit less, and they're just a lot tastier. And again, this dish will work perfectly well with a little bit of smoked salmon or anything else like that as well if you want to get a little bit luxurious. We have the cabbage and turnip. Now you might think, turnip, cabbage, fish. Well, trust me, smoked fish can stand up to the flavours of the turnip. And I'm just going to finish that with a little bit of olive oil, just a little bit of salt and pepper, and with the cabbage in it. Now, talking about turnips, you might think, anti-inflammatory. How good are these turnips? How good are these vegetables? Well, they're excellent. Turnips, swedes, they all fall under a family called rutabagas. And they're, again, a very, very nutrient dense, but very low calorie vegetable choice. They've got great flavour as well, and a surprisingly subtle flavour if managed properly. They are very high in calcium, they're very high in potassium, and so again, potassium very important for blood and sugar regulation, and also they're quite high in antioxidants, so you're looking at, again, another vegetable that's good for combating oxidative stress, that lovely kind of yellow colour, or even the whites, and so on. The various vegetables will indicate different antioxidants within the vegetables, so that's, you know, it's a good one to bring in. Also, they're a good fibre source, which is critical for good gut health. So turnips, incredibly economical, great value, lovely, bulky, they fill you up great, fibre, antioxidants, you know, give them a go and try them with this little bit of smoked fish. Very, very simple dish, and I'm going to get on and cook it now. With this dish, a nice heavy pan with a good tight fitting lid, a little bit of water into that, and I'm going to cook my swede, or the turnip. As you can see, I just chopped it into random chunks and into the water. And I'm going to get that up to a nice simmer and cook until tender. Turnip is just about cooked. I'm now going to add my cabbage, into my pot with the turnips when they're just almost tender. And then I'm going to boil both the cabbage and turnip together until they're tender. I'm going to allow them to cook together for about another 5 minutes. Having allowed the cabbage and turnip cook together for about 4 to 5 minutes, I'm now going to just drain off the water and let them dry out just a little bit. So, having drained the water from my cabbage and my turnip, I'm now just going to add just a pinch of seasoning, just a little bit of salt and some pepper, and I'm going to add a little bit of olive oil to taste. Say about somewhere between 20 and 30 ml of a good olive oil, just to kind of give it a little bit of richness to the dish. And now I'm going to smash those ingredients together, just to kind of break up the turnip a little bit. You don't have to be too precise on this. Now, be careful that you don't over-season this, because the smoked mackerel itself tends to be quite salty, which is the reason I've used so little salt on this dish so far. So, now that my cabbage and turnip are just broken up and kind of a turnip-based Colcannon is what I'd call this, I've now removed my mackerel from the bone. You could use mackerel already purchased off the bone, the smoked mackerel. But now what I'm going to do at the very last minute, I'm just going to sprinkle over that mackerel into the dish. And just let it just kind of rest atop the dish. And then I'm just going to cover that over, completely turn off the heat, and then allow the residual heat just warm through the mackerel for about a minute or two. And having waited just about a minute or two, there we have it. Very simple, our cabbage turnip Colcannon with some lovely smoked mackerel, just to kind of add those flavour and proteins through it. Very, very nutritionally balanced dish, believe it or not. And now just to serve this, I'm just going to pull that gently off, get a nice appropriate plate, and quite literally spoon a nice portion of the Colcannon. I'm going to call it a turnip Colcannon with my mackerel, and enjoy. And you can give a small little drizzle at the very last minute of olive oil, and it needs nothing more than that.